Hi there, my name is Tanuj Bansal, and I would be talking to you today about Office 15 developer platform. As you know, as part of the Developer RDP program, this presentation is under NDA, so everything you see today is confidential, as well as dates and capabilities that we share are subject to change. Three pieces of items that I would cover, and that's the agenda we'll follow throughout the discussion. The first part is just looking at where we are in the current market and what's forming our thinking. So let's go to that first. The key part of this slide is really at the bottom of the slide. The center of the slide talked to you about why Office is a great platform and a natural front end as it's used today for many of the business system integrations. But bottom is where I want to focus. There are three key areas that are laid out. On the leftmost are the challenges that we hear from a development perspective. In the middle are challenges we see from an end user perspective, and on the rightmost, under the management column, are the challenges we see as an IT professional you might be facing when managing customizations in Office. So for example, for developers, we don't really today see developers developing for Office. You develop for Word, you develop for Excel, and you rewrite for each one of those Office applications. So as such, you have a great amount of challenge right there of having to maintain and rewriting anytime you make a change, even if, let's say, your add-in was exactly the same, you have to make a lot of changes. And secondly, that model definitely doesn't extend beyond the client that you're writing and not into the web apps. In the middle pillar, we talk about the end user. Many of you might have experienced at times that sometimes you see Outlook slows down. Well, you don't know if it's Outlook slowing down, if there's an add-in that's running in the same thread working on your inbox, and that's slowing Outlook down. And there isn't a nice little pop-up like IE9 has, where it might tell you that there's actually an add-in that's slowing you down. You could, in fact, still find that out, but it requires a lot more understanding of where the settings are for add-ins than an intuitive guide for you. And lastly, as a IT pro, as a manager of customizations for Office, the challenge we hear all the time is that there's just add-ins all over the place. You really don't know which ones are being used. And when it comes to, for example, an upgrade plan for Office, you tend to, of course, overcompensate because you don't know what's being used. So you have to test out all of the pieces that are out there on the network for Office customizations. So that's the set of challenges you're seeing. Now let's look at what's happening in the market. One key area we are seeing is that the web standards certainly are dominating and continue to take a lion's share of how developers are programming today. This is a stat you might have seen, for example. Amazon offers APIs that are SOAP-based as well as REST-based, and more than 90% of their APIs usage today is the REST-based APIs. The second stat is almost two-thirds of professional developers, according to a Microsoft Developer Tracking Survey, using HTML and JS technology. That's a pretty large number if you look at almost about 10 million professional developers that we quantify on our worldwide tracking survey. The last piece of the puzzle is about an environment change that we see occurring with Office 365 come to bear. Office 365 as such doesn't introduce a new set of developer technologies. In fact, much of our platform will remain symmetric across on-premise and online in 365. But the new environment does offer you an opportunity to develop these new class of apps that can assume that there's a SharePoint deployed, that can assume that there's an Exchange available online. And because of that, you can build a lot more collaborative and connected applications. So with that in play, let's look at how we're responding to that with the Cloud-Ready platform. Three key components to the Cloud-Ready platform. I'll go into the detail of each one of them. First of all, we're introducing a web standard-based model that will be utilizing technologies such as HTML5 and JavaScript right inside Office Client across to SharePoint as well as in web apps. Secondly, this model will allow you to run the same application online or on-premise across devices, may it be iOS or may eventually it be, of course, Windows, wherever you're using a browser, for example, and you have a customization that runs inside a web app, you'll be able to access it across these devices. And lastly, we'll be introducing an in-product marketplace, a marketplace that's integrated into the ribbon for Office. That will allow you not only to discover new applications, but also you'll be able to acquire either free or pay for applications that are made available to you by the worldwide developer community. So let's look at that web-based model first. The simplest way I could describe to you what this web-based model is kind of like you have a browser inside your Office client window. So right now what you see on the screen is the client application for Excel, except that it has a Bing map on the right side. And this is sort of the hello world of the web world in a way, hello world application, where we in fact have a Bing map running inside that iframe that essentially is running the IE technology in the back end. It's able to connect to the Bing service as well as, and this is the kicker, that it's able to get access to the data through a safe JavaScript API and use that information in the spreadsheet to plot, in this case, the pins that are shown on the screen. Now, the same model then carries over to Excel web app. So in fact, if I were to save that spreadsheet on the leftmost side inside a web app and open it inside a browser, may it be Safari, may it be Mozilla, may it be Internet Explorer, you'd be able to see the same exact application, same code, running inside the Excel spreadsheet. And on the rightmost side, I show a difference of a different form of this customization, which is more of a task pane kind of construct running inside Word. And what we are showing here is a little application, very quickly written, just connects to Wikipedia. So I can select any content inside this Word document, and I instantly get information on it from Wikipedia. And I could actually enhance it to, in fact, insert that definition inside the document if I wanted to do so. The other form of this construct, which sits inside Outlook, is this contextual information. So again, I'm showing you a Bing map, but what you see here is inside an email, if somebody sends me an address, Outlook is actually able to parse that out using our natural language groups technology and use that address to associate an application that's already installed and show me the Bing map live in my email. Imagine similarly if you got an email as a salesperson with a PO number or a customer ID in it. Well, we can exactly, again, define a pattern and associate an application that may eventually connect to your business application in the background or business application in the background, mean either online or on-premise, and bring you interesting, rich information in context, task-oriented inside your email. Just quick look off when we say it's a cross-device architecture, why that is. You'll learn a lot more through the RDP program about it. But essentially, these applications, we're codenaming them right now as agaves as we work toward finalizing a name for them. But what you saw as the Bing map is essentially a web page in the background, and that's redirected to us through a catalog server. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that catalog server is and what forms it can take. But it suffices to say that you do not install anything on the device where you are using these applications. It's simply like browsing a web page. It's a link, it's a URL that you're referring to. A quick snapshot of different scenarios that are possible. The key thing I want to drive here is that these little applications or agaves can sit inside a document template, and then that document template or agaves themselves can be inside a SharePoint applications as well. So you can have pretty rich scenarios using the same common model that stretches all the way across to SharePoint. A snapshot of a case study a partner built working in the earlier cycle, the Dev Kitchen. At rightmost inside the frame is the new application they built. It's pretty much the same except with enhanced visualization, but built on HTML5 and jQuery. The biggest advantage in this case, Spanish Point told us, was that they now don't have to convince the customer's IT to deploy these applications because there is no installation required to distribute these applications for them. Another example from LinkedIn, I get an email, I have my LinkedIn URL. I'm able to actually very quickly get more information on my LinkedIn contact through the email. And just a quick touch on, we have thought about the development tools. Of course, you can use any web standards, Notepad++ if you wanted to, but we have strong integration in VS11. I'm going to show you a few examples of how you can, in fact, boot up VS11, have these special Agave templates, and then a full construct is built for you. The basic structure is built for you inside VS to help you build these applications. So having just talked through the cloud-ready platform, let's discuss how these new class of applications, such as Agaves, can be distributed, can be acquired, and deployed on your network. So I talked about the marketplace earlier. The slide you see shows you two different ways that this marketplace would surface, integrated in the product for Office as you would expect through the ribbon, as well as for SharePoint directly through your SharePoint site. Now, one key difference beyond your ability to discover, download free applications, or even purchase applications that are available, the key difference here is that you would also have a corporate version of this marketplace, as in something that's more of a walled garden for a company where you might have applications that are only relevant for your employees. You might, in fact, have applications that have your special IP that are confidential or internal purpose only, or you might want to pre-test and pre-purchase applications that you're making available on your network. This corporate marketplace will allow you to do that. It would be based on a SharePoint service. So once you have SharePoint deployed, you can activate the service, and the catalog becomes a SharePoint marketplace, or a corporate marketplace becomes available as part of that service. Now, different ways of getting these applications and then deploying them across your network. One is the obvious one that you might have seen, which is essentially, as a developer, going left to right on this slide. As a developer, I can go to an Office Developer Center, submit my applications, we eventually curate them, and then those applications become available for trial or purchase, directly visible through the ribbon. The other mode could very well be that an IT organization directly negotiates with the developer, or, as I discussed before, in fact, develops some things online. Now, those type of applications you could either make available through the corporate marketplace or SharePoint that I just talked about, or if you had a small team environment, you can also make these applications available through a file share, a simple file share. And that setting can be controlled through a policy setting for the clients. Now, this last piece on acquisition and deployment here is about the new form of apps that we talked about, as in the Agaves. But it's also about the add-ons that you have on your network today. And this slide actually might look a little bit more complex than it really is. It's simply put, all it's doing is giving you a way of almost radioing macros and add-ons that run inside Office 15 built in, or for Office 2003 to 2010 via a separate binary, small binary that you can install. And this radio essentially sends home the signal that a macro or an add-in is running. And home in this case is a centralized database that you could have using a SQL Express or SQL, where we are collecting that data on these add-ins running on your network, and then presenting to you in a nice dashboard. Now, that not only does that help you make decisions on how you upgrade or how you move forward, let's say from an Office 2010 to Office 15 on what add-ins are running, what macros are running, what your risk surface is, but it also allows you to be very proactive in knowing what customizations are not functioning out well and, in fact, proactively fixing them. So we talked through a lot of material here. You will learn a lot more through the course of RDP, but I just wanted to touch on a few things. One, the new web-based model is very much built to be forward compatible, as in it can run across devices. It can also run across clients as well as client-to-web apps. When you write for Word, the same code can run across to Excel. as well as when you're writing something inside Excel, it can run inside Excel web app without rewrite. Marketplace will allow you to do that in product discovery and purchase directly. And then the service integration that we talked about through the web-based model that not only gives you that built-in possibility of cloud integration, but it also has, because of the web-based model, that roaming and scale that's possible with the web. In closing, a call for action for you through the developer RDP program, we would have a track in the 8 locations that we would be touring. I encourage you highly to reach out and attend these sessions to learn a lot more details on the Office 15 developer platform. Thank you.